Let's get into it. Again, I'd like to remind you all that this is a collective reading. Please use your discernment. Some things may resonate with you, some things may not. But please take what resonates and leave the rest. Okay, let's see what the cards have to say to the collective today. All right, we have 2 fours coming out. We have the 4 of Wands and the 4 of Pentacles. For me, the number 4 is a number of stability. Actually, in numerology, the number 4 is a number of stability. I feel like something flipped over in here, maybe not. The 4 of Wands is a card of union, stability, celebration sometimes, freedom. And then we have the 4 of Pentacles. This is holding on to something. This is also a card of stability. And this is in, okay. Whew, that card flew out. Okay, we have the 5 of Swords. This is conflict. And we have the 5 of Cups. Oh, and we have the 5 of Pentacles. So we have 4s and 5s here. We have stability and foundation, and we have challenges. 5s are about challenges. Interesting. The first thing I'm getting here is with the 4 of Wands, we're talking about a foundation. The 4 of Wands is about coming together, family units coming together. It's about the foundation of people, of your environment, of it reminds me of coming together for a family gathering. You know how everybody comes together under one roof to gather and to celebrate, for some type of celebration. Well, the coming together, the thing that brings them together is some sort of a foundational belief, right? Some sort of foundational system. The 4 of Wands is representative of someone coming from a strong foundation, a strong family system. Okay. And then we have here in the position of the other people or your connections, the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles is also a card about foundation and stability, but it's a card of trying to hold on to something, right? It's trying to hold on to a foundation, to some sort of stability. It's a card of being maybe whatever stability you have, being closed off, protecting what you have, okay? Protecting your foundation, protecting your space. It's a card of protecting something, a card of trying to hold on to something. It could also be a card of greed, because you're trying so hard to hold on to what you have that you restrict flow. Okay, because really we live in a world, in a universe where the flow is important. It's important to circulate, right? To circulate your money, to circulate your energy, what you put out, to allow it to come back. We live in a reciprocal universe. Okay, so when you hold on tightly to things, to people, to ideas, to your foundation, or what you believe is your foundation or your stability, you restrict the flow, right? So if you're holding on to everything, if your hands are clenched and tight, then it restricts the flow. You can't receive, right? So someone is holding on. Someone feels the need to protect and hold on to something, okay? With the Five of Swords, we have, this is conflict. The Five of Swords is my card for win at any cost. And this is the driving energy. It feels like these two energies with the Four of Wands, this is a freeing, loving, this is a strong foundation. This is someone that's very secure, okay? And this is someone who is very insecure. People who are insecure, they hold on to things, okay? Because they believe that if they believe that if they don't hold on to things, that they're going to lose something, okay? So we have here a card of conflict, and I feel like, and this is what's hidden. What's hidden is there's some type of underlying conflict between these two energies, and it's probably because one is very free and the other one is very restricted. So it's kind of like even though we're talking about stability and a foundation, someone comes from a foundation of freedom and security, and this is someone who feels safe, right? Someone who comes from a strong family system. This is what I'm feeling from this energy. And then we have here someone who comes from, they may have some form of stability, but they come from a place of lack. So they're trying to hold on. This is a conflict. It's a conflict of interest, really, because we have two different worlds here, two different energies here. And then with the Five of Cups in the fourth position, fours are about foundation and stability. The Five of Cups is it's loss, it's grief, it's disappointment, misunderstanding. We're talking about emotions here. So, yeah, disappointment, misunderstanding, some type of sorrow. And this, again, is in the place of foundation and stability. So this is loss. This is grief. And then in the place of the path or the change or what changed, right? Or what needs to change. We have the Five of Pentacles here. And this is struggle. This is hardship. This is, again, this is feeling left out in the cold. And it feels like this is what someone is afraid of. But these are the energies at play here in this reading. So we're going to get into the tarot to get a little understanding and discernment about these energies. Let's find out what's lying underneath. Thank you all for joining me for this reading. I really appreciate you being here. These are timeless readings, so if you found this reading, no matter when you find it, maybe there is a message here for you. We're talking about divine timing here. Okay, so let's find out about the Four of Wands. This is the energy of the collective, coming from a very stable place. At least that's what we're feeling right now. But look, we have the Four of Pentacles and the Four of Pentacles here. So, okay. Again, in this Four of Pentacles, we see someone protecting, being very protective of what they have. This person has created a home here, right? A very stable environment, this is a beautiful home. This is someone who has some form of maybe success and some form of this is someone who appears well taken care of. Very well taken care of. But she's locked behind a gate. You see? Everything is like her. It's like she's well taken care of, but she's also guarded. She's guarding what she has, holding on. And with this gate, look at all these locks, and inability. She's she's locked down, like she's not letting people in. The boundary is strong here. Very protective of herself and her possessions. Okay, let's dig a little deeper. Okay. We have the Five of Wands. This is overcoming, this is obstacles, right? Obstacles. Things in the way. Focused on making moves, strategic moves, trying to overcome obstacles. And this is what she's focused on, right? And again, we have another five. So we're talking about foundations and we're talking about challenges here. So some type of challenges that she's focused on. Could be competition. Okay. Tell me. Okay, we have the Six of Swords, moving to calmer waters. So this is someone who is coming to terms. The swords are about communication, your thoughts, your ideas, your knowledge, your understanding. But this is someone who is coming from a place of, because we have a 6 here, so they're moving out of conflict into calmer waters. Moving away from competitive competition to calmer waters. So we have here with this 4 of Wands again, like this is stability, right? But we're talking about now what led to this stability. What led you here? What led you to this energy? And it feels like maybe at some time in your life in the past you were guarded. You felt a need to be protective, to protect yourself. It feels like from people who were in competition with you, people who were who put obstacles in your way, on purpose. Chess is a game of purpose, right? So when someone makes a chess move, they're making very intentional moves. So this is dealing with an energy of people strategically and purposefully placing obstacles in your way that you now have to figure out how to overcome those obstacles. Now, again, let me remind you of the question. The question is why? The question is, why do emotionally unavailable people feel familiar? So we're talking about an energy of you coming from a place of being guarded. A place of, when you're guarded, there's no room for, like, she's locked behind a gate, there's this sense of being distant. There's no communication here. You're not letting people in. So maybe you come from an environment where people had a lot, right? People, there was it wasn't a financial issue because you have a strong foundation here. You have stability here. So this wasn't about finances. This was about your environment being, what am I getting? It's like, let's see. What's coming to my mind is like, say you have a relative and they have, they're wealthy. Say you have a relative who's wealthy, right? And you go to their house and everything is put together, right? Or maybe you come from a home where everything is put together. Everything is pristine. But something about that environment, because with the Pentacles, we're also talking about your environment. Something about that environment is it's pretty to look at, but it's kind of like being in a museum. You know what I mean? You can look, but don't touch. Kind of like that, It's not lived in. There's no communication. When you go into a museum, think about a museum. A museum is quiet. Nobody's touching the exhibits. People are whispering, talking softly. There's no joy, there's no laughter, there's no, children playing and running around in this space. There's none of that. Okay, you just got a lot of pretty things, but there's a lack of communication, it's kind of like a superficial environment. And it feels like, with the Four of Pentacles, being very protective of your things. So maybe you grew up in a household where you couldn't touch things. You lived in a nice house, but don't touch anything. As a kid, you couldn't run through the house. You couldn't have friends come over and play because it's locked down, right? So there's this sense of being restricted from being truly authentically yourself. You can't be yourself in this type of environment. And so this created obstacles for you. With the wand, wands are about energy. Wands are about your energy, right? So with the Four of Wands, you're talking about the energy of a strong foundation, of being solid, right? So maybe you do come from a solid foundation, but underneath that solid foundation, what appears to be a solid foundation is restriction, a lot of restriction. And that created some type of blocks in your energy, some type of challenges within your energy, because it looks like, chess is a game you want to play, right? So we're talking about playing a game, but it feels like when you wanted to play, you were faced with obstacles. Be quiet, sit down, you could play, but you better play quietly. Don't speak up. Don't. So your energy, especially that energy of a child that just wants to be free, there's no freedom here. It's restriction and a lot of obstacles to overcome. Being very mindful of how you move in this environment. Okay. And so you learned to move to keep yourself, you learned to move to calmer waters, right? By being very calm, the 6 is avoiding, 5 is some type of challenge or conflict, and the 6 is moving away from that. So you learned to move away from this type of, you overcame these challenges by moving away, mentally moving to calmer waters, maybe going off to yourself, staying out of the way. That's what it feels like here. Okay. It's a pattern of being restricted, and this created many obstacles within your energy where you had to hold back your energy, which was very challenging. And you learned how to move away and to stay to yourself, how to move away from conflict, move away from this 5 energy. And you used your mind to do that. Okay. Going to calmer waters, going within, to maybe gain some other understanding. But it's mentally taking yourself mentally out of this environment. Okay. So, as you can see, a card flew out. As you can see, we have 3 of the 4 elements here. We have Pentacles, which is your environment. We have Wands, which is your energy. We have Swords, which is your inner, your your understanding, right? Your communication, your understanding, the way you think, your beliefs. Okay, we have those here, but what we don't have here are emotions. I'm sorry. The card flew out. Hold on just a second. Oh, well, look what fell out. We have the Page of Cups. Okay, that's funny. That's very funny to me. Okay, so we have all the elements here. Okay, so your environment was restricted, your energy was challenged, you took your mind away. So you mentally moved away from this energy by going into your imagination with the Page of Cups here. Look how she's staring at this fish in a cup. She's in her imagination. She's in her emotions. So this is how you survived in that environment. You survived by getting off to yourself, taking, a mental space from this, because this was draining, and living in your imagination. Alone. The page is alone in their imagination. Okay. Maybe thinking about the future. Feels like, this is innocence, and this is very, what do I want to say? Curious emotion. So it feels like as a young person, you lived in your imagination and you were very curious. Okay. It was kind of like your safe space, and kept you, helped you to deal with these more challenging issues in your environment, right? You were very restricted, and so there was no place for you to go except for into your inner world. And that's how you stayed. That's how you stayed safe. This was how you stayed safe, your place of safety in this very challenging environment. At least it was challenging for you. So there was no emotional safety here. Your safety was within yourself, within yourself, in your imagination. Now let's look at the Four of Pentacles. This is other people, okay? So other people in this environment, the Four of Pentacles is about holding on. And we're talking about pentacles. It's about holding on and protecting, being very protective of your environment. And here we see the Four of Pentacles again, very protective. This is a person who is protective of their environment, okay? And their environment consists of a lot of things. They find their stability in money, in possessions, and this is their foundational belief, okay, that their security is in money and possessions and the things that they have in the house, and it's all a pretty show, okay, and that is their belief. So this is not about any type of emotion. There's no emotion here. Okay, the emotional one in this environment is you. The other people in your environment are about money, holding on to things, collecting things, being guarded about their stuff. That's what they're worried about. You see the big gold chain with the pinnacles. This is someone who needs to feel, they feel important based off of what they have. That's where their importance comes in. Whereas your importance is what you find important is connection. You're all about connection, and they're all about their pentacles. This is the environment you grew up in. So you were kind of a misfit. You were probably the oddball out, because you guys don't think different. You have a different form of stability, a different foundational need, And so even though we're talking about foundations here, these are values, value systems. Your value system is one thing, and their value system is another. So you found your place in this environment by mentally moving away and living in your imagination. And again, so here with the Four of Pentacles, we have the Three of Cups. This is a group. These are people that you have emotional connections with. So the people that you're emotionally connected to are in this Four of Pentacles energy. And here again, we are talking about a foundation. Okay, that's the people who you love. We have an Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles, she's studying. This is someone who's learning new things. Someone who is, who finds opportunities to engage with things in their environment. This is your energy. With this Page of Cups, someone who lives in their imagination. It's exciting, when you find yourself excited this is you, and this is the people that you care about. So if you look at these cards, the people that you care about, you were an ace in the environment, meaning the ace is about you. You felt alone in your environment. You were alone in your environment, even though you had people around you, because this is other people, but this is how other people saw you. So we're talking about the Four of Pentacles. This is the position of relationships, connections, the people that you're connected to. And there is definitely love here. There's emotion here with the Three of Cups. These are people that you care about. They care about you, but they see you as this Ace of Pentacles, someone who is maybe a loner, someone who is always in a book or learning something new, acquiring some new knowledge, some new understanding in their environment. Someone maybe who, someone who's alone in their environment, seeking new opportunities, always maybe reading a book, learning something new, some type of self-improvement, So you're living in your imagination and you're learning new things. This is what you do. And at least this is how they see you. They see you as someone who's just in your own little world, always focused on learning something, reading books and all the things, worried about things that are not important to them. Okay, tell me more about this Four of Pentacles. Okay, again, we have the Four of Wands. Wow. This is funny. We have the Four of Wands, foundation. That's so funny because with the energy of the Four of Wands, we got the Four of Pentacles, right? We got the Four of Pentacles. So we're talking about their environment, the environment that you came up in. With these people who were in this Four of Pentacles energy, focused on things, their value system revolved around what they had and how to protect what they have. And then in their position, the position of the others, we have the Four of Pentacles, and now we have the Four of Wands. Okay, and this is a strong foundation. So again, these people believe that a strong foundation for them, that their happiness, their foundation is in the Pentacles. But it's not. Well, okay, for them it is, because you can't, that's their value system, okay? For them, their strong foundation is in the Pentacles. And that's where they get their energy from. The wands are about energy, about where you put your focus. And so for them, focusing on their foundation was about, material. So we're talking about two different sets of values here. The things that you value are, just very different from the environment that you came up in. Okay, so again, we have you here. But we're talking about their energy now. So they're, they are your people, and this group of people that you care about. There's and they care about you too. This is there is some level of care and connection. You see the hula hoops, they're all connected with the hula hoop. Okay, so there is connection, but they see you as a loner who's always off to yourself. And this is the foundation of things. This is the way you grew up. We have the High Priestess here. So the High Priestess is someone who sees beneath the surface. This is the subconscious we're talking about. This is, things that are hidden, and there's, intuition here. A lot of intuition here. I feel like the High Priestess, this is definitely your energy, but I feel like you, at a very young age, were able to, you understand these people. You understand the environment that you're in. You understand the differences in your family. You understand what happened in your found, you understand your environment. Okay, you understand the superficiality, the guardedness, the people, the environment that you grew up in. You understand it. You see people clearly. You understand, and you also understand. You're very intuitive. Very, very intuitive. And probably it's because you had to be to survive in this environment. So you learned to see what's hidden, to hear words that haven't been spoken, to read the room, to understand people on a subconscious level. And you learn that by moving away from people, by going to calmer waters. And that's also what allowed you to go to calmer waters, the understanding of your environment, the understanding of the need to protect your energy. Even if you didn't understand that, even if you didn't call it that as a kid, oh, I'm going to go protect my energy. There was something intuitively that you knew that you needed to move to calmer waters in order to protect yourself. You intuited that. So you're someone who had an understanding even as a child, who had a strong intuition. And I'm sure that you're also very empathetic and in tune with your energies as well as the energies of those around you. So you learned to move to calmer waters to keep yourself safe from, these people, from your environment, right? Because you realized that you were different. You're not like this group. Yeah. You're in your Ace of Pentacles. You're an ace. You're a one. You had to, and not that you had to, but this is your nature right here. Your nature is you learn to be by yourself because you don't fit with these people. Look at them. Look at how they're dressed. Very, they look like they belong in this house, in this space over here. But you don't. You're very, very different. Very natural, very grounded. You see how she's sitting on the earth, but her feet are in the earth? Very grounded. You're a very grounded individual. Okay. Is there anything else we need to know about the Four of Pentacles? Nine of Pentacles. This is luxury. This is abundance. The Nine of Pentacles is pre-Empress energy. So let me tell you what I'm feeling about this Nine of Pentacles. This Nine of Pentacles represents, this is how they see you. But this is how they want to feel. This is the way that you're seen. This is laying on top of your energy, the moving away, the Page of Cups. So this has to do with the way that you're being seen. And by the way, the people in this environment that you were in who were putting these obstacles, in your way, they see you too. They see you clearly, just as clearly as you see them. But they don't accept you. That's the difference. You were not really a part of this group. You were always, looked at differently. We'll just say that. They also know that you're very different. The Nine of Pentacles, this is the way that they see you. And if you're living in an environment with people who value material things, who value, money, and, they have to look good and they have to, present themselves a certain way, and they're very materialistic, okay? Very materialistic. So the person in the Nine of Pentacles energy is This is not this is not about someone who is materialistic. This is about someone who is adding value to their environment. And because they've added value to their environment, this is someone, look how she's looking at the bird, which represents freedom for me. This is someone who has nourished an environment by giving loving energy. Look how she's looking at this plant, right? She loves this plant. She's connected to this plant. She understands her connection with nature. And this is someone who has nourished their environment to the point, who has been so focused on their environment to the point where their environment has given back to them. This is someone who has poured into an environment, and that environment has given them something back. Okay. People think that you pour into things by adding money, this materialistic way of being. But remember, energy is unseen. You can't see energy. You can see money, you can see material because you can hold it in your hands, right? But the beginning of the material things comes from the unseen. It comes from energy, and energy is something that you cannot see. So while they're looking at you as someone who is very, very abundant, they don't understand where your abundance come from. They don't understand. Look, she is in the Nine of Pentacles energy, but she is not holding a pentacle in her hand. These people are holding their pentacles in their hands. You see? They're wearing them. They're holding them. They're, they're thinking about them with the crown over, on their head. They're thinking about them. And what are you focused on? You're focused on freedom. You're focused on creativity. You're focused on the juiciest, positive type of energy. It's just different, It's a difference. It's a huge difference. Okay, let's talk about, I love that. But these people will never understand where your abundance came from because they believe that they are the ones who have the abundance. So they're looking at you in this luxury, why you look so good, and you could have very little money, you know what I mean? Material money in your life, but for some reason you're still well taken care of. And it's because the universe, it's because you pour your energy into love and surrounding and freedom and your environment. You pour your life-giving energy into the environment, and so the universe is going to take care of you, period, point blank. But someone who's materialistic, they will never understand that. They just don't. They don't understand that. Okay. We're talking about the Five of Swords here. We're talking about the driving energy is conflict. Lots of conflict. Win at all cost. We're talking about here with this emperor energy, right? The emperor is someone who this is the driving energy. So with the three, this is the underlying, the hidden energies. The hidden energies is that you're dealing with people or someone who want to win at all cost. They have to win at all cost. Someone who loves to be in charge, loves to be able to control and manipulate others. But also, at the same token, and I'm reading for this particular reading, the emperor is about taking charge, being in control, someone who is in a position of power, someone who has the authority to manipulate people. Okay. And we're talking about you in your imagination and this group, because this card is laying on top of, okay? So you're talking about maybe you're the one who's feeling manipulated, feeling under the control of this group of people who operate in the guise of providing protection. Look, this is someone who the emperor is also, very forceful. This could be a father figure, very forceful in their environment, but they believe that their structure, their force is protective, I'm protecting you also. I might be hard on you, but I'm protecting you also. The one thing that the emperor does not have, though, and this is a position of win at all costs. It's in the position of win at all costs. So this may have formed some type of conflict. You may have had some type of conflict with this emperor energy because you're different. Because again, we're talking about with these cups, a very different type of energy, different types of emotions. You're very imaginative, creative, and have a very strong mental world, a very active, creative mental world. And this emotional energy is all about feeling like you belong, trying to fit in. That's the emotions here. Wanting to fit in, wanting to be a part of. You see, they're all holding a hula hoop and they're all wrapped up in this hula hoop together, wanting to belong, okay, in the group, in fitting into this, okay. Those are two different emotional energies that caused conflict. And not just conflict, these are people who saw you in this Nine of Pentacles energy and they're in conflict with you. They want to control you. The Emperor is about control, but they don't look at it as control in a negative way. They look at it as we're better than you. You know what I mean? They don't believe that what they're, how they see you, they don't see anything wrong with what they're doing. In fact, they believe that they're upright. In their behavior. These are people who believe they're right. They believe they're right and you're wrong. But there is no right or wrong. It is who you are. It's your value system. But this is being seen and you see this. Look, this is them and this is you and you see this. With the sun, it's about shining the light on something. You see this. You see them, And that's your driving energy. That's the driving energy. The problem is you see that these people want to control you. And because you see it, That's conflict. They don't want you to see them as they are, as you see them, you know. They want you to see them as the emperor, as someone who is very powerful, very strong, very, you know, very stable, someone who knows how to create a strong foundation, someone who is understanding what life is all about. And, you know, they want you to see them as this strong and powerful being. You know, this is how they want to be seen. But you see them as people in conflict, people who want to win at all costs, as these people who want to fit in into this certain ideal. And, you know, and they're very controlling, but they also are full of conflict. We have here the Ten of Pentacles. And here we have the underlying issue of why emotionally unavailable people feel familiar, because this is your environment. You grew up with emotionally unavailable people. These people are not connected to their emotions at all. They're connected to their things, to money, to power, to control, to winning at all cost. And the Ten of Pentacles, that's the environment. That's the legacy. And this is under the Five of Swords. You know, the legacy is you have all these people who are in competition with each other, who want to win at all costs, who want to look good, who want to be powerful, who want to have lots of money and hold on to their money. And that's the environment that you grew up in. That's your family system. So you didn't learn, and again, you understand this with the High Priestess and the Four of Wands over here. You understand the environment that you came from. You understand it. You understand the value systems of your family, and that your value systems are different. And with the Hierophant, this is you. You're your own authority. Your authority doesn't come from these people, even though they want to have some type of authority over you. But your authority doesn't come from these people. Your authority comes from your wisdom, your understanding, a higher and inner knowing. Your authority comes through your inner knowing, your intuition. You're guided by a higher power. You're guided by your inner self, by your own subconscious. And you love getting wisdom. Look at this owl, just full of wisdom. And you're sitting there studying with wisdom. This is where your power comes from. This is why you understand how to pour into your environment, and why your environment gives you back the Nine of Pentacles energy. Beautiful. Let's talk about the Five of Cups. Grief. Five of Cups. This is in the position of the foundation. Foundation and stability in the fourth place. Hermit. So your foundation and stability came from a place of loss, of grief, I feel like it grieved you to not be able to not be able to be connected with these people. Look how the Five of Cups is sitting on top of the Page of Cups, your energy, and the Three of Cups, the energy of the people in your environment, your loved ones. And I think it grieved you to not be able to connect with these people. She's got 3 cups here that the water is spilled out of, and 3 people in this group. But then she has 2 cups that are still standing here. Is that a coincidence? That's the cards. I love it. Thank you, Spirit. But it was, it caused grief. And you understanding, you being in grief in this environment and having to deal with people who want nothing but conflict with you because you're so different, right? Because these people have conflict with you because you took yourself out of this energy, because you moved to calmer waters. And you didn't join them in this. You went your own way and began to, you stayed in your own space, in your own, in your own energy. You learned how you learned how to cope by living in your own creativity and your own inner world. You didn't join these people or become like them, and that's why they have this conflict with you. They feel like you rejected them, but really they rejected you. So with the Five of Cups, this disappointment, we have the Hermit. This is you going off, being to yourself in your inner world, going within again. I mean, you went within a lot. You went away and you went within. Okay, you moved away and you went within. We have the Hermit here, and the Hermit is seeking inner wisdom, has an inner guiding light. Okay? A higher wisdom. We have the Seven of Pentacles. Growth. This is, again, focusing on your environment, focusing on growth, planting seeds. All this wisdom that you've gained, all this wisdom and understanding and knowledge, you gained that through this experience with your family system. All this wisdom and understanding and knowledge allowed you to be able to plant seeds for your own growth because you have a deeper understanding, because you see things clearly, and you understand this energy of control. But also you understand that you have control over your own emotions as well, that you can, because this is control here, the Emperor, over you and over this group. So this group was trying to have control, and you, looking at your cup, you are focused on controlling your own environment. So you have the seeds to plant, right? To nurture yourself, to nurture your environment, to grow, right? What it is that's going to lead to your Nine of Pentacles energy. That's going to lead to you mastering something. Okay, let's find out about, and look. Planting seeds, pouring energy into your growth for a new beginning. A new beginning. The Fool. That's a new beginning. Taking all of the knowledge that you've learned. The Fool comes in The Fool starts with nothing. Nothing but faith. Nothing but faith, coming in with what they have learned, with what they know, with their experience. That's their treasure. And that's your treasure, your experience. So when you find yourself connected to people who are emotionally unavailable, you've gained experience about this. You understand this energy very well because you've lived in this environment. You've grown in this environment. And I just want to say, regardless of where you grow up, this is proof. This is absolute proof that regardless of the environment that you grow up in, the divine can pour into you. The divine can use that environment to add to you, to add to your understanding, I feel like you're someone who has a greater purpose. This type of energy leads to purpose. And the purpose with this new beginning, what I'm feeling here with this Seven of Pentacles, growth and this new beginning, is that you have the seeds here to plant in your new beginning because of all of the wisdom and understanding that you've gained throughout your life experience, throughout your journey so far. A life that has been full of challenges, right? But you have an opportunity to begin anew, to step out on faith, to plant these seeds to create something new for yourself. Okay, tell me about the Five of Pentacles, please. And this is the path, the shift, the change. This is what needs to change. Okay, so we have justice. There's a need for justice, right? Balance. Justice is about balancing the scale. We're talking about karma here, but we're not talking about bad karma, good karma. We're talking about bad karma and good karma, okay? We're talking about what you pour out is what you get back, okay? So the justice is, and this Five of Pentacles energy is a feeling of being left out in the cold. So the justice for this feeling that I'm sure you have felt many times in your life, being alone, being separate, right? This Five of Pentacles is laying right on top of this group here, and you separate, you feeling left out in the cold. The justice, what brings the balance to this situation here. The karma that comes from this, which is the justice, right? Justice sees things clearly. This is the justice between you and between the environment that you've grown up in and the wisdom and authority that you have taken over your own life. It's versus with justice. Your environment versus your own wisdom and understanding. And that has created mastery. Eight of Wands. I'm sorry. I was thinking Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Wands. This has allowed you to move forward. This has allowed you to use your energy to take flight, to move forward with your knowledge and your wisdom and your divine guidance, because you have divine guidance. There is a light that is guiding you, and you are moving in the direction of the light. Anything else about the Five of Pentacles? We got two cards coming out at a time. Oh. So we have the Empress. So you're moving into your Empress energy. Always pregnant with ideas, nurturing something. Look at that baby in the womb. There's always something growing within you. You're always nurturing something within you because you're being guided by the light, right? So you're always headed towards abundance, towards plenty, towards, nourishing, the art of creation, of bringing things forth, of birthing new things, of creation. You're full of creation, full of creation and growth. Look at that. You've got the seeds. Yes. And then we have the Five of Cups here. Again, this is grief with this Five of Cups. But this Five of Cups, if you notice, these are flowers, right? Your grief is being transformed into growth. Look at this stick she's holding in her hand. Your grief is being transformed into growth. Your disappointment turned into a blessing. You see that? A blessing that you're going to take into, look at, and it's on top of the growth card. Beautiful. A blessing that you are taking into your new beginning. Oh my goodness, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. Okay, let's get one card for closing. Oh, jeez. Sorry, guys. And we have the Moon reversed. Facing your fears. Facing your fears. The Moon reversed on top of taking action, massive action with the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands is about forward motion, taking massive action in a new direction towards your Empress energy, into what you're creating. Understanding that the grief and the disappointment that you experienced in your life was meant for your good. Look, it's blooming. It's causing it's your grief is filled with blessing. Here we have the Five of Cups, where she's full of sadness and sorrow. And here we have the Five of Cups. And you have new blooms. Those cups, those spilled cups, have now bloomed into something beautiful. And this is not hidden. You have faced your fears, and you have stepped out on faith. And I want to encourage you to understand when you say, again, back to the question, why do emotionally unavailable people feel familiar? Again, it's because of the environment that you've grown up in. You've grown up around emotionally unavailable people in your environment. Your whole life has been spent like that. So it's the pattern. The thing about the pattern, though, and this is the conclusion, is that the things that we experience in childhood, if you notice, when we grow up, we have that, it's like we relive that experience to allow that experience to bring us to a place of remembering who we are. Remember who you were throughout all of your childhood. You were always this energy who had a different understanding, a different value system. You always valued people over things. That was your value system. You valued connection over the things that your family, your environment, the people in your environment valued things. But you've always been yourself, even throughout the history of your life and your experience with these people. You did not change. They could not change you. And that's the reason why they rejected you. That's the reason why there was conflict. Because they couldn't change. You wouldn't change because you weren't like them. And so when you have grown up and you find yourself still attracting those same type of energies that you grew up in, the first thing you want to do is become aware, is to really, and I hope that this reading helped you to find some awareness and to understand where those energies come from, right? To understand that you grew up around those energies. Those energies are embedded in your subconscious. There was something that you were supposed to learn through the experience of them. And what you learned was that you had no choice but to be your individual self. And now that you know who you are, because you've now attracted those type of people into your life again as an adult person, you find yourself still reliving those same patterns, okay, of attracting the same type of people. And that's because your work now is to be able to recognize that pattern within yourself. What is it in me that is attracting these people to me? It's an energy, okay? But how the energy is now calling you to remember that you are your own individual person, to remember that it's important that you understand the differences. And not only that you understand the differences, but that you learn to honor yourself in a way that you really could not fully embrace as a child. As a child, you could not separate yourself from these people. This is your family. This is your environment. These are your caretakers. These are, your relatives, right? And you are a child, so you need these people in order to survive. But as a full-blown adult, understanding yourself and how your energy and their energies are not compatible, they're not aligned. Your work is to recognize when you are in connection with people who you are not aligned with and to do something about it. And I'm not telling you what to do about it, but I am saying in any way that you choose to do something about it, you need to be respectful of who you are. First and foremost, to take care of yourself the way you learned to take care of yourself in the environment. You did so as a kid, as a young person. You understood that you were different, so you took space and you stayed to yourself in order for you to stay safe. And you need to learn how to protect yourself in the same way as an adult who is taking responsibility now for the fact that no one else has the power to control you. So now that you know, now that you have the awareness, once you have the awareness, you have the responsibility of taking the action and stepping out on faith to do the right thing, the thing that you know that you need to do, to put yourself first. But here we uncovered the reason why you find yourself attracted to the same energies, and why these energies feel so familiar to you. Okay? But you don't have to stay there. And what you have is the power of choice and free will, always working for you. So that's your reading. I hope it was helpful, and I hope it was insightful. And I would love to hear from you. Remember that you are powerful because you have a choice. You always have a choice. You're never ever stuck in any situation. Always have a choice. So put yourself first. When you're dealing with certain energies, learn how to honor who you are, and make sure that you are in alignment with the people that you choose to connect yourself with. Okay, that's your reading. Have a blessed day. I hope to hear from you in the comments. I hope that if this reading resonated with you and you have a story to tell, I would love to hear it. If you would share to myself and in the comments with the community. But either way, take care of yourselves and have a blessed day.